synthetics give them the performance to help them succeed. And your car's engine deserves the same. Because your daily commute is no less important. Get complete protection for top engine performance, just like the pros. Visit Pennzoil.com/rebate to save on Pennzoil Synthetics. Terms apply.
Of all the questions you get asked every day, this is one you should not ignore. How much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Not what its current value is, but how much of it will end up in your pockets, not the government's. Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money. Make sure you are not overpaying. Keep every dollar you are entitled to. Look, I know it's confusing, it's complicated, and it definitely is not fun. That's why at Pinnacle Retirement Advisors, we offer strategies to help make sure you're not paying more in taxes than your fair share. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Call our team at Pinnacle Retirement Advisors today to get started. 352-320-2060. That's 352-320-2060. Do not do the IRS any favors. 352-320-2060. Firm offers insurance services and may not give tax advice. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Hello, gorgeous.
Hi, this is Becky at Hello Gorgeous Salon. It's time to get that new look started. Let's get rid of those sun-damaged ends and faded out color and get into something rich and vibrant. Humidity is not your hair's friend. It causes your hair to capture moisture and leaves it looking dry and unhealthy. Hello Gorgeous is a certified Brazilian blowout salon. We can tame those locks, leaving your hair healthy and shiny with a Brazilian smoothing treatment. So let us help you make a great first impression. Call us today to set your appointment at Hello Gorgeous. Our number is 352-351-5358. Again, that's 352-351-5358. And don't forget, we also do men and children's cuts too. 351-5358. Hello Gorgeous is conveniently located in the heart of downtown Ocala. So call today and set up your appointment at Hello Gorgeous Salon at 351-5358. That's 351-5358.
Hello, gorgeous.
You're getting ready to move and you work hard. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. You need pros. Trained professional moving experts to do the heavy lifting for you. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. They care about your things as much as you do, and they do it fast and right. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. Visit twomeninatruck.com and get moving.
Two Men in a Truck.
Welcome to Gene Powell Pasture Mowing. Gene and Debbie thank you for another successful year and to wish you and yours a year ahead full of faith, family, and friends. It's no secret that we have and will face some challenges this year. Now more than ever, we need to reach out to make our workplace a caring community. Wishing you peace, hope, and a brighter new year. Powell Gene, Gene @yahoo.com, 352-629-2440. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440. Gene is a proud United States veteran.
Now you've done it. Have you lost your mind? He's back. And you're listening again. A legend in his own mind. Don't believe me? Just ask him. Here's Tom Schmitz live on WOCA. The Source.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks on a Thursday. Surprisingly, for the good, in the studio with me this morning, surprised me. It's my lovely wife, Susan. Good morning.
Good morning, my love.
It surprised me that she came and showed up.
Hi.
But,
well, I actually had a pickup on this side of town.
Oh, good.
So
JustShip.net. You know, I always say JustShip.net to make an appointment with you, but I should know the phone number, too, and I never give the phone number.
352-234-3840.
234-3840. Why don't I remember that number? Anyway, it's JustShip.net. Flip the script on shipping.
Yeah,
so
I had a pickup, so
you came in and said hello?
I did.
So January 6th, 2020.
Yes. Are you going to talk about the insurrection?
Was there an insurrection?
I don't know.
Nobody's been charged with insurrection.
I don't know.
They call it, the media calls it an insurrection, but yet nobody's been charged with that, and that's an actual charge that could be leveled, and nobody's been charged with insurrection. I just think that insurrection is one of those words that the news media likes to say, but the law enforcement community has not charged anybody with insurrection. They've charged people with trespassing, charge people with destruction of property, charge people with rioting, not charge anybody with insurrection. Because insurrections are if you go back and read insurrection in the Constitution, it ain't good what happens to people that are found guilty of insurrection. I will tell you that I was here at the radio station. Somebody texted me and goes, "Are you seeing what's happening at the Capitol?" And I went, "Trump speaking?" They go, No, it's beyond that now. So I went on to the internet here, and I saw them as they're breaking the windows, trying to get into the Capitol, and I went, uh-oh, this isn't good. But some people go, I literally had somebody text me this morning, goes, "Can't believe you're not talking about the insurrection yet. Why aren't you talking about the insurrection? It was the darkest day in American history." Hello.
What about the Civil War?
Thank you.
When the most
Antietam, the most bloodiest day in the history of warfare for the United States. You're telling me a couple hundred people storming the Capitol was worse than Antietam? I don't think so.
It's
Now, don't get me wrong. I think anybody that stormed the Capitol that day and destroyed things in the Capitol and the way they went in, moronic, at least moronic. Okay, you can't, we set our hat on as a country. The fact that we peacefully exchange power every 4 to 8 years, either 4 years or 8 years, depending on whether the president's won a second term or not. That's what we do. That's the example we set for the world. Okay, so by trying to stop that process, whether you agreed with the outcome or not, and by the way, I didn't agree with the outcome. I voted for the other guy. You didn't agree with the outcome. But it was still the way the Constitution describes it, that it had to happen. Tom, they stole, okay, regardless of whether you think they stole the election or not, once all the states certified the elections for their individual states, what was happening in the Senate, and this is where people lose understanding of civics. And this is a problem because we don't teach civics anymore. And this is what the problem is. People lose understanding of civics when they lose the understanding of what they did in the Senate, certifying or ratifying the election was ceremonial. The states have already ratified it. It's done. The Senate just comes back behind it and goes, yeah, we agree with what the state said. That's all. There was no way Mike Pence could have stopped it, turned it over, overturned it, none of that. But ignorance of civics and ignorance of how the Constitution works make people think it could have been overturned. It could not. Once all 50 states ratified their individual outcomes, it was done.
Well, I have a different take on what happened.
Well, let's take a caller real quick. Okay. Good morning. You're on Ocala Talks.
Good morning,
Hey,
Tom.
Sonny.
You know what bothers me is when you got videos of the Capitol Police holding the doors open for
people to come in, yes,
to go into the Capitol. I mean, if that doesn't tell you that was a setup, I don't know what. Of
course, it was a setup, honey. It's a public building that they're allowed to be in. Where I had a problem was them breaking the windows and knocking down windows and breaking doors out to go in. It's a public building. Enter at your leisure. But don't destroy things inside the building, and don't destroy entrances to get into the building. That's where I had the biggest problem.
The biggest thing is you had people holding the doors open for demonstrators to come in.
Certainly.
To me, that stinks of setup.
I'm not doubting that a bit.
Yeah.
I'm not doubting that a bit, Sonny. I think there was a little bit of setup going on there. Thanks for the call. I think Sonny's right. I think there was a little bit of let these mongrels in and see what they do so we could say we were always right.
I think, so I don't know about that. So
right.
But
what's
either
your
way.
take on this?
And I think I talked about this when I was on the radio last year, I think the country, and no matter what party you're with, is at a boiling point of all the crap the politicians tell you and don't do. They're two-faced, they're double talking, they're wheeling and dealing. They are actually not having the United States first and foremost in their mind.
Their constituents aren't first and foremost in their mind. Their wallet is.
I think you have. I don't even think you can call them. These were Trump supporters that did all this. No, these were American citizens that were PO'd, and they wanted to let you know that they were PO'd.
But you got to act better than that.
Well, okay, so in history, and I believe you're a history major.
We had a House of Representative.
No.
Kane, another House of Representative. One congressman, Kane, another congressman, almost kill him on the House floor before.
That's not where I was going with this. Where I was going was, when there's an overthrow of government, where are taxes at typically?
High.
Like 25%, 30%?
Somewhere around 35%, yeah.
Where are our taxes at?
About there.
So, what do you get for
gas is so high you have to ration it. Food is so high that people can't buy it. Yeah, that's what. But that happens in communist and socialist countries.
Is it?
Oh,
not? Wait. I mean, we're taxed upon taxed upon taxed. I mean, I pay taxes, and then I pay property taxes, and then I pay taxes for a pack of gum, and then I pay taxes for my gasoline, and then I pay taxes for your medicine.
And you're doing all that with money that they already took out because they taxed it. Yeah. Look, the tax man cometh. No offense, George Albright.
And you just said yesterday, what were we talking about yesterday? The only branch of the government that needs no warrant, no nothing,
IRS,
is the tax man.
Yeah.
They can come in and take whatever they want.
They can kick your door down. They could search your house without a warrant. They could take you into custody and hold you without ever charging you or bringing you in front of a judge for as long as they want. Yeah, the IRS can do that.
And then I see these young folks making comments on social media saying like,
yeah, but you're young. Calm down.
Why are we letting billionaires have enough money to put spacecraft up in the sky?
Because they earned it.
Because they earned it. That's what I'm like. And he was like, well, tax them more. Well, what's the incentive of starting your own company, letting it grow, paying employees well, by the way, in those instances, those 3 instances.
Yeah, that's what gets me is they think only the billionaires making any money. All those people it takes to get those rockets in the air are making paychecks.
They're making bank. And not to mention the technology. Oh, and by the way, who put all the space junk up in the sky?
The U.S. government.
The government.
The Russian government, the English government, the Chinese government.
Do you think commercial is going to be allowed to do that?
No. No, of course
So
not.
it's actually probably in better hands and safety, in safer hands.
By the way, why is it the government's responsibility to go to space? The government started us there, got the technology going with rockets and all in the 60s. Private, it should have been privatized years ago. NASA should be a privatized thing. People go, oh, no, calm down, Tom. No, I know it's a big boon for our state. But NASA should be, and it's being supported by a lot of private companies now that are shooting their rockets off from NASA, the launch pads. Private companies paying NASA to use their launch pads. I'm okay with that. Somebody goes, Elon Musk, if he gave $1 million to everybody in America, he would only lose about $30 billion of his $130 billion. Why should he lose $30 billion of his money? He made it.
He made it.
Now, don't get me wrong. If Elon wants to, on his own accord, say, everybody that lives in America that's a taxpayer over the age of 18, I'm giving $1 million. I'm waiting by my mailbox for that $1 million.
Me too.
Okay. Thanks, Elon.
But here's the thing.
But he doesn't have to.
Yeah, but here's the thing about somebody called Elon Musk out to say, hey, if he would give such and such, it would end world hunger. He said, okay, I will. And he went on Twitter.
If you give me $10 billion, you can end world hunger. He goes, okay.
Okay, I will give it to you, but you have to
show me the business model.
Show me the business model. You have to make everything public records.
Yeah.
And that shut people up, didn't it?
Elon Musk said, I will give you the $10 billion, no problem, right now. Show me the business model and keep everything all the records open to the public view.
Everything.
And nobody ever said anything about it again. Because you can't skim that way.
You can't.
There's no skimming that way. And by the way, Bill Gates, he's so, I want to help the world and everything through vaccination and all. Bill Gates got $230 billion, even though he gave his wife half of it. She still got half. Why don't Melinda and Bill cough up $10-12 billion in world hunger? Because they know the business model ain't good.
It ain't good.
Yeah, it's ridiculous sometimes how we approach things and how both sides approach things. And this isn't a Democrat or Republican thing.
It isn't.
There's criminals on both sides. Believe me.
Believe me.
Good morning. You're on Ocala Talks.
Hi, this is Sonny.
Hey, Sonny.
Elon Musk showed us how to put a vehicle up in space or go to the space station for better than half of what it
The
costs
government did it.
Yes.
Plus, he turns around and reuses the rocket.
100%.
Yeah. There
So, I
are no $14,000 toilet seats that Elon Musk is buying. I promise you.
All righty, guys. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Sonny.
You too, Sonny.
Yeah, nobody sold Elon Musk a $600 screwdriver.
No, because he would be like, "Man, what you talking about? I'll make my own screwdriver."
I remember when that report came out. There was a report in the middle '80s that showed some of the expenditures the U.S. made, and they had paid $600 for a hammer. Hammer.
No, they did not.
No, the taxpayers did.
Well, what I'm saying is,
No, of course they did not. The hammer only cost $25. They wrote $600 on it.
Yes.
Just like, I don't know if y'all know this or not. I'm going to give a secret away about the car industry.
Okay.
That does the same type of thing. When they say, if you buy a new car, we give you a free tank of gas, look down on the very bottom of your lending sheet and look where it says gas allotment or something like that, and watch, it'll say $150. You didn't get a free tank of gas. You paid 3 times as much for a tank of gas, but you financed it over 60 months. Well, that's what was happening with the federal government. They were like, and that's why college is so expensive. Before the federal government got into the federal student loan business, and before they started guaranteeing the loans, when you had to go to a private lender to get loans, private lenders didn't guarantee loans. They didn't, they would give loans, but very few, because not everybody could qualify for the loans. The U.S. government gives anybody that applies for a loan, they get student financial aid.
Right.
Okay? They take a loan out, you got student loans. Anybody can get it. As long as you meet the requirement to get into the school, you can get financial aid if you need it. Mm-hmm. The government backs it. So colleges said, hold on. You mean if I charge $10,000 for a year of college, I get my $10,000 from the federal government, and then the student owes the federal government, they don't owe me the college? The federal government says that's exactly what we mean. Within 5 years of that happening, college was in $25,000 a year. Mm-hmm. Because what's it matter how much we charge? Federal government's giving our money up front. You owe the federal government. You don't owe us. We get our money. That's why in 1968, you could get a Harvard education for less than $20,000. Harvard education for less than $20,000. Within 6 months of the federal student loans, when they started guaranteeing the federal student loans, the Harvard tuition went from less than $20,000 to $60,000 a year. Mm-hmm. If I owned a business, that'd be a good business model. If I know my money's guaranteed and they don't care what I ask for it, the federal government doesn't care. Whatever you tell me college cost, that's what we'll pay you, and then they owe us. Mm-hmm. I'd tell you college costs $100,000 a year. Why not? The government's going to pay me. And that's the problem. That's the problem. That's why things should be privatized. A lot of things should be privatized.
Exactly.
Safety and infrastructure. That's about all the government should do, I think. Mm-hmm. But, what do I know? But you're right. I think people reached a boiling point. I do think that there was some culpability on both sides for ramping up the boiling point. I don't think for a minute that former President Donald Trump doesn't know how to rally a crowd up.
Well,
he does.
But
I don't think for a minute that Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi don't know how to rally a crowd up. They do. Mm-hmm. Okay? Maxine Waters, Democrat, rallied her constituents to, if you see a Republican out at a restaurant, go up to them, get in their face, make them uncomfortable, make them leave, let them know they can't live in our America. Huh? Maxine Waters thought to be a great statesman by the mainstream media. If Donald Trump had said that exact same thing, he'd have been thrown out of office and put in federal prison in Leavenworth under the jail. Mm-hmm. But Maxine Waters literally said, if you see people that disagree with our ideology out eating or anything, disrupt them, make them leave, because make them know that they can't live in our America. And it happened to Huckabee. Sarah Huckabee, the press secretary at the time, her and her husband were out to dinner in Washington, D.C., and got accosted by a bunch of people and had to leave the restaurant right after Maxine Waters had made that statement. So there's enough culpability on both sides
Yes.
for this boiling point to have occurred.
Yes.
Do I agree with what happened at the Capitol? No.
No, you
You
don't.
can't do that. You just can't. I understand the frustration. Believe me, if there was ever a person that you could hear their voice that understands boiling points, frustrations, and how hard it is to control one's inner self, I'm that guy.
No.
I'm that guy.
Not you, honey.
Okay? There's a litany of instances in my lifetime where I wasn't able to control the boiling point.
Haven't seen that in my life.
And things didn't go well. So I understand. I'm just saying you can't do that. And here's what happens when you do that. Marion County Capitol riot cases. One is sentenced. One's got a plea hearing. 4 cases are pending. James Bateau of Ocala, his case is pending in federal court. He's been charged with obstruction of law enforcement during civil disorder, assaulting, resisting, or impeding certain officers or employees, entering and remaining in a restricted building or grounds, disorderly and disruptive conduct, yada, yada, yada. So Jennifer Bateau, his wife, case still pending, entering and remaining in a restricted building on the grounds, disorderly and destructive conduct, yada, yada, yada. Kelly Meggs of Denellen, case pending in federal court. Conspiracy, obstruction of official proceeding, aiding and abetting, destruction of government property, aiding and abetting, yada, yada, yada. Connie Meggs of Denellen, case still pending in federal court. Conspiracy, obstruction of official proceedings, and aiding and abetting, destruction of government property, aiding and abetting, yada, yada, yada. Michael Curzio of Summerfield, he's been sentenced, served 6 months behind bars, paid $500 in restitution. He was charged with part of a plea bargain. He pled guilty to parading, demonstrating, or picketing in the Capitol building. The government decided to drop all the other charges. So those are what happened to the people in Marion County, or still happening to people in Marion County. But you notice the one thing I never said there, even in the yada, yada, yadas, insurrection, not anywhere in those descriptions. And by the way, they think that Kelly Meggs and his wife, Connie Meggs, the reason they charged with conspiracy, they think, the federal government thinks those were 2 of the ringleaders of the whole Capitol incident where people went inside the Capitol. They think they were 2 of the ringleaders that organized the whole thing. I don't know if they were or not. That's going to be played out in the court of law. But even if they were, you didn't charge them with insurrection. Why do you call it an insurrection?
Right. Because it's media hooey. What is it called? When they hype it up. Media
hype.
Yeah,
hype. They're wagging the dog is what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're trying to get us to, and today all the media coverage is about last January 6th. Who knows? Something bad's going to happen today, and they're trying to keep us from knowing what it is because they're looking at January 6th. I promise you.
Yeah.
I promise you that's why they got us geared towards January. But for folks to say it was the worst day in American democracy in the history of, okay, Representative Sumter caned a man almost to death on the House floor. Okay? Aaron Burr shot the Vice President of the United States in a duel because they didn't get along politically. Okay? Let that sink in for a minute. No, he wasn't. Aaron Burr was Vice President. He shot the former Secretary of the Treasury, Alexander Hamilton, because they didn't agree politically. Okay? There were groups of brothers that killed each other and shot at each other on battlefields over the institution of slavery and the rights of states to decide whether they could have slavery or not. That was called the American Civil War. Okay? Stop with that. January 6th of 2020 was the worst. I listened to somebody this morning on MSNBC say that it was the worst day in American history. Huh? So what about the day Kennedy got shot? Worse than that? When the leader of the free world was assassinated in Dallas? Worse than the day James Garfield got shot when the leader of the free world was assassinated by an anarchist? Worse than the day William McKinley got shot? Worse than the day Abraham Lincoln was at a theater and got his head blown off by a guy who was a whack job who did more damage to the South than helping the South by assassinating Lincoln? You're telling me some folks going into the Capitol, breaking some statuettes, sitting at Nancy Pelosi's desk with their feet up on the desk, saying, where's Nancy now? You're telling me that's worse than somebody putting a gun to the back of Abraham Lincoln's head and killing the man? That's worse than a rifle bullet when you watch the Zapruder film, blowing the head of John F. Kennedy apart? You're telling me the bloodiest day in U.S. war history, Antietam, where more men were killed or maimed than any other day in history of U.S. combat. You're telling me some folks complaining and bitching and moaning and being loud and talking about we're not going to let this election go through was worse than that? What they did was bad. I'm not making light of it. What happened January 6th can never happen. Okay? It should never have happened. But Lincoln should have never been assassinated either. Kennedy should have never been assassinated either. Okay? Somebody at NASA should have never allowed an O-ring that didn't work in the cold to be okayed in a launch pad. A launch happened January 28th, 1986 that killed 6 astronauts. That shouldn't have happened. I can go on and on with things that shouldn't have happened here. There should have never, ever been any man, a human being, sold on a block in any city into slavery in this country. Should have never happened. But for people to say that what happened last January 6th was the worst day in U.S. history, shut the hell up. It pales in comparison to some of the worst days in U.S. history. Pales in comparison. Mm-hmm. Ask the people that died at Gettysburg if they up there in heaven they're looking down. That isn't as bad as what I did charging. I was in Pickett's battalion. We were charging up that ridge. Wasn't as bad as charging up Seminary Ridge.
Probably.
Ask the men on Omaha Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, looking down from heaven, we stormed Omaha Beach. We stormed Normandy. We got our heads blown off and legs blown off and killed. Never even made it off the beach. What were they doing? There was a guy in a Viking helmet and red, white, and blue paint on his face yelling, "No, no, no." Oh, yeah, that was much worse than what we went through. Stop it. Just stop. Hey, thanks for coming in.
You're welcome.
To hear me blabber.
Yes.
I get going when people make me angry, and I just get going.
At least I was here to interrupt you a little bit.
Yeah, so that I didn't get really, really high strung.
Yeah. Otherwise, this whole half hour would have been.
Could have been. We're going to take a break. Come back right after this. This is Ocala Talks, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is